Good morning, everyone. Today, uh, we are going to see about module 2, that is user experience. In this user experience, we will be learning user interactions. So, within the user interactions, we will be concentrating on user input controls, menus, screen navigation, and recycler view. So, in the next chapter, delightful user experience. So, about drawables, styles, themes, and material design, and providing for adaptive layouts. So how to use draws and how to use styles in your Android application and how to change the themes of your applications. So and about material design also we will be learning. So and next chapter is testing your UI. That is how to test the user interface what we have designed for the application. So let's coming to the first chapter, user interaction. Is within that we'll be learning first user input controls. So what are all the user input controls? So see, user will interact with your applications where in that applications may be a button text field where the user wants to enter a field. Okay, so for an Android app, interaction typically includes, so if he presses a button, it's a tapping. So pressing, okay, typing, talking, so listening. So many things the user will interact, okay, in an Android applications. So where the framework provides, okay, here the framework provides corresponding. Yes, for all these interactions, the framework will provide user UI elements, user interface elements like buttons, menus, keyboard, text entry field, a microphone. So if you want to talk, you can use a microphone, or if you want to enter any text, you can use text entry field. If you want to use keyboard, it will provide some framework keyboard or menus. And if you want to tap or press, there is a buttons. So these are all. So here, in this chapter, we will be learning how to design an app's user interaction. So how we need to design an app's interaction. So maybe the button needs triggering actions. So if you press a button, it should be triggered. And so if you enter any text for the user input, so if your user enters any text, how it has to get into the Android app, how it has to work. Okay. So we need to know what users might do with the UI. So if you have the users will have the UI. So what are all the actions will be done by the users? What input will be given to the or given by the users? So we need to make sure whatever our app will be to be initiative. It means that whatever the app should perform for the users, except it to perform. So if the user wants to click a button, that button should be clicked, not any text and all. So that is an initiative. So the user should expect what it has to perform. Okay. So for example, in general, if I want to say, so you have a car, right? If you have a car, so what is the use of steering? What is the use of gear? So you put the gear, right? Like one, two, three, four. So steering is to balance your wheels, right? So mirror are used to see the view. Okay, indicators. So indicators will be there. So likewise, so as an example, I said, so if you have any app, so how it should work. Okay, so if you have a button, you should click the button. So if you have a text, you should enter a text. So likewise, so make sure our app should be initiative. Okay, and this chapter, so in this sessions, we will be learning Android input controls. Okay, Android input controls. So, which are all interactive components of your app's UI. Okay, so some of the input controls will be there where the input controls is an interactive. Okay, those are all the input controls are all the interactive components. So where these interactive components will be used in a user interface. Okay, so we can use wide variety of input controls such as, so we can use wide variety of input controls such as text wheels, button, checkbox, radio buttons, toggle buttons, spinner, and so many UI input controls are there. Okay, so some of them are, so like button. Okay, this is a text field, and this is a seek bar. So seek bar will be used for your playing video audio player. So this is a checkbox. This is a radio buttons. This is toggle, and this is a spinner. So we will learn. So next, we are going to learn input controls and vehicle. So Android will be having some of the common programmatic will be used to control the inputs. Okay, so to have an input control, all the input controls will be done with the programmatic abstraction. So Android will provide that programmatic abstractions. So for that we'll call it as a view. Okay, for that we call it as a view. So view we have learned in the previous sessions. So view is a class where it represents the basic building block for UI components. Okay, so where the view class is the basic building for UI components, where it includes input controls. So input controls may be button, text box, radio button, check boxes, toggle switch, all are the input controls. Okay. So for view class provides support for UI components. So this class also provides a support for all the interactive UI components. So as I said, buttons, text box, all the layout managers. Okay. So where what is this view? We need to know. So where view is a class where view class extends object class. Remember that view class extends object class where and also implements this view class also implements drawable.callback interface, key event.callback interface, accessibility event source interface. These three interfaces has been implemented for the view. So if it implements, then three are the interfaces. So if it extends, then that is a class, as we know in the Java, where this view class represents the basic building blocks. So view is the where this particular view class is the base class. Okay, view is the base class. Okay, so base class for widgets. Base class for widgets. So view group. So we will be having a view groups. So these view groups is a subclass of base class for the layouts. So all these view groups of a sub view groups we have learned in the previous sessions. So all views in the window are arranged in a single tree. So as we know that all the views, whatever we will be using in the Android application user interface, so all will be arranged in a single tree. So once we have created a tree of views, so once we have created a tree of views, so come of the common properties we need to perform. So which to perform? We can perform. So we can use the some of the common properties to perform those for the in the trees. Whatever that we have created the trees of views. So how it will be the tree of views means. So if I show in this here in the Android Studio, just an example to understand what is this view tree, how it will be there. So if you go here in design, see here, this is the tree. So this is a tree. So this is a relative layout where all will be in a single tree. This is how it looks. So what are all the common properties we need wish to perform? So we will be setting the properties for the particular UI what we will be using. Okay, or we can set the focus, or we can set the listeners, or we can set visibility. Okay, we can set visibility, we can set up a listeners, we can set the focus, we can set the properties. So as we seen, we have come to know what are all the properties we have been set in the different sessions. So let's see. The view that has the focus will be the component that receives user interface. So as I said, the view that has the focus will be the component that receives user input. So what is this focus? So what is this focus? As I said, some of the common properties we can set that is set focus. What is this focus? The focus indicates which view is currently selected to receive the input. So it means that so out of our in our UI, so which view? So if you have using text view, you have using button, so all will be under the view only. So it means which view is currently selected to receive the input. So it means from out of the UI, whichever the view we need to get the or we need to receive the input. So focus can be initiated by using touching a view, So for how it can be initiated, so how the focus can be initiated. So as I said, so focus indicates which view we will be receiving the input. It means which view is selected and we will be receiving the input from the selected view. Okay. So how it can be initiated. So how it can be received. If how it can be received. So it means the user will touch the view. So view means such as the user will touch an edit text or the user will touch an button. So likewise, so through that we will be receiving the input. So focus order in which, so we can define the focus order in which the user is guided from UI control. So as I said, the focus order in which the user is guided from the UI control to UI control using the return key, tab key, arrow key. So as I said, the focus will be indicating the view that currently receiving the input, whichever the view is selected. So as this is the sentence it says. So focus can programmatically control. So as I said, how we are going to control this focus. So I said that we will get the input by selecting that particular view. So how we are going to manage? So this focus can be programmatically controlled. So how? Through a request focus method. So we can use request focus method on any view that is focusable. So if any of the particular view in our application to be focusable, then we can use the request focus method. So, and one more attribute is there, that is in one more attribute of an input control is clickable. So if you set the clickable attribute to true, then view can react to click events. Okay, then view can react to click events. So what is this focus and what is this focus and what is this clickable? Okay, what is the difference between the focus and clickable? So clickable means, so what is this clickable means? So clickable is a view that can be clicked or tapped. Okay, so clickable means where if you set it true, so if you set the clickable attribute to true in your XML file, so then view can react to the click event. So it means whether you can click that particular event or you can tap that particular view. Okay, so then what is this focus? So focusable means the view is allowed to gain focus from the input device. Okay, so it is allowed to but whatever the view you will be focusing, so that particular view is allowed to focus from the input device. So it will be focusing from the input device. So input device means such as keyboard. So input devices like keyboard. So only keyboard? No. So another, so there may be a different input devices like directional pads, trackballs, touch screens, keyboards, and some other. So next is focus. So how this focus can be used? Okay. So here the Android will provide touch mode for the devices. Right? Is it right? So Android will provide the touch mode for the devices. So that can be touched. Whereas so where you can touch, Android will provide touch mode for the devices. So which devices will be given that touch mode? So like smartphones or a tablet. So when user begins interacting with interface by touching it. So through the smartphones or the tablets, the user will interact. So how the user will interact? By touching the screen, right? By touching the interface, whatever the interface is there in the Android device, that will be the interface. So by touching it. So only views with is focusable in touch mode. So how this will be interacting? So there is a method that is focusable in touch mode. Is focusable in touch mode. We need to set this as a true. So if you set this true, then the particular UI or the view will be the focusable, like input fields. So other things will be the focusable. So focus movements. So how it will be movement. So what all the focusing will be done in the screen or the smartphones in the tablet. So focus movements is based on algorithm. Okay, the focus movements is based on the algorithm where this algorithm will be finding the nearest neighbor in the given direction. So nearest neighbor in the given direction. So whether you will be moving to the left, right, center, or wherever in which direction you will be moving. So this is the nearest. So how it is focus movement is based on the algorithm. So this algorithm will be find based on the nearest neighbor in the given direction. So in this, the first thing is when user touches the screen. Okay, when user touches the screen, the top view under the touch is in focus. Okay, so if the user touch the Android smartphone screen or the tablet screen, so where that touch is will be focused in the topmost view, where the particular touch will be in the focus of topmost view. So where it providing the touch access for child view of the topmost. So in the topmost view, whichever the child view will be there, that is going to touch access. Okay. So next is, so if you set an edit text view to a single line, so if you have used any edit text where if you set that particular edit text to the single line, then the user can tap the return key on the keyboard to close the keyboard and shift focus. So it means that, see for example, you have a context, you want to save a new contact, you will write some name to save that contact. So then what you will do, you will press back from the keyboard or to the Android device. So where that particular back will be the shift focus to the next input control view based on the what Android system finds. It means that, so whatever the return key you will be pressing, that return key will be the shift focus, and that will be done through the Android system. Okay, because there is no external return key for that particular edit text. You will be returning that particular thing through the keyboard to close that particular keyboard, and if you close that, the shift will be focused to the next input control. So it means that, so if you have a contact to save it, you enter the name, if you press back, so it will be focused to the next edit text, so that whatever the field is there, you can enter it. So that is the second point in the particular focus movement. So next is, focus can also shift to different view if the user interacts with the directional control, such as directional pad or a trackball. So if you use trackball for the UI, okay, the user will interacting with the direction control. So the trackball will what will do, you can direction control can be done through the trackball. For example, if we say that, okay, so through the trackball you want to go to the upside or a right side. So it will be the focus where the trackball will be having a different views. So as it you can move through the directional pad or a D-pad. So wherever you want in different views, you can be viewing. You can be shifting that. So that is the focus. So next is, so if the algorithm, so whatever I said, that nearest neighbor. So if the algorithm does not give you what you want, okay. So whatever the algorithm will be there, if that particular thing will not work as the user wants, so then we can override it by adding the next focus down, next focus left, next focus right, next focus up. So all these attributes can be added in the XML. All these are the XML attributes where you can use that in your layout file. Okay, we can use that in a layout file. So how to add one of these attributes to a view to decide where to go upon leaving the view, where to go upon leaving the view. So I will tell these 2 points through the example. So define the value of the attribute to be the ID of the next view. Okay, what these 2 point means. So let's see this example. So in this example, we have a linear layout where the linear layout orientation or whatever thing you want, you can give vertical or horizontal. So within that layout, we have taken 2 buttons. Okay, so what this button will do, what this button will be focusing. So here for the button, we have ID that is common for all the views. So what we have given here, we have set the next focus up attribute, that is utter. For that, we are given the ID. And for this button, we have selected next focus down. Okay, next focus down. So here we have taken the linear layout as vertical. So navigating from first button would not go anywhere. Okay, so where what does it do? First button will navigate to up, the second button will navigate to down. So it means that the top button has defined the bottom button as the next focus up. Okay, it will be the up and down. It will be shifting up, down, likewise. So the focus will be going to the up and the focus will be going to the down. So if you click this button, if you go, the focus will be up. If you click this button, the focus will be down, likewise. So as I said, so if you want to declare the view, if you want to declare any view as a focusable, so if you want to declare any view as a focusable in our user interface, so we can add an XML attribute that is Android colon focusable. So Android colon focusable, where this particular attribute will be focusable. So if you use this particular Android colon focusable attribute in the XML or any view of your UI, then it will be whichever the view we have been used, that view is a focusable in our UI. So next is we can also set, so we can whatever the focus I have set till now, we can also set this focus explicitly or find out which view has focus by using the following methods. Which view has a focus by using the following. We can use these following methods or the attributes so that which view is focused, okay, in our UI. So first one is call on focus changed. Okay, what does this on focus changed if you use this? So it determines where focus came from. So if you want to know focus where it has come from, then you can call this on focus changed. So next is you can call active dot get current focus method, or we can use view group dot get focused child. So what does these two method will do? So if you use these two method, so if you use call activity dot get current focus to find out which view currently has the focus, it will find out which view is currently having the focus. Okay, so if you use view group dot get focus child, so it returns the focused child of a view. So it returns which view has been focused. That child will be the child view will be the child view will get returned. Okay. So if you use find focus method, it's okay. If you use find focus method, this method is used to find out the view hierarchy that currently has a focus. So in the particular view hierarchy, which view has currently get focused. Then for that we can use the find focus method. So if you use request focus, so it will give the focus to a specific view. So if it means that, so if you want to focus for the particular view, then you can use request focus. So then is called set focusable. So if you want to change whether your view can take focus, so if you want to change any view can take a focus, then you can set focus. If you use set focusable, then particular view can be taken to the focus. So next, if you want to set a listener, okay, if you want to set a listener for a view where that can be notified view gains or lost the focus. So if you set, then for that we can use set on focus change listener. You can use set on focus change listener. Next is using buttons. So how we can take a button? So normally we know this type of button. So normally we know this type of buttons. So in some of our apps, we will be having the icons as a button or both icons and text as a button. So we can make buttons using only text, okay, or only an icon or both text on icon. So when user is touched, okay, or clicked a button, so what does it do? It performs some of the action. What action we need to be performed on that particular button? So that action will be performed when the user clicks or touches the particular button. The text and our icon provides a hint of action. So it means that whatever the text within that button, it says that. So if it is a submit button, the submit will be there as a text in the button. So it says that you have to submit the button. So for that, we will referring as push button in Android. So we can say this as a push button. So this Android button follows the guidelines. So whatever the Android buttons are there in the Android Studio, all buttons will be following the guidelines. What guidelines will be following? That is Android material design session. So we will see in detail about the material design in the coming sessions. So where whatever the button we will be seeing in the as an UI, where that particular button can be a rectangle or rounded. So many types of buttons we can use. Okay. So Android offers several types of buttons. Okay, where Android offers several types of buttons. So including raised buttons and flat. Okay, raised buttons and flat buttons. So before moving on to the raised buttons and the flat buttons, so each button will be having a three states. Whatever the button we will be using as an UI, so that buttons will be having a three states. That is normal state, disabled state, and pressed state. Okay, normal state, disabled state, and pressed. So first see what is this raised button and flat button. So this raised button in three states. So as the figure below figure shows, first one is raised button. So this first one is raised button and the second line is flat button. Okay. So first raised button. So this button shows normal state. So this button will be in a disabled state. So this button will be in a pressed state. So likewise, the flat buttons are in three states, that is normal, disable, and pressed state. So what is this? So let's see about raised buttons. How we need to design this raised button. So how we can design this raised button. So a raised button may be a rectangle or rounded rectangle. Okay. So what normally we will see, that is rectangle or a rounded rectangle button will be there for the raised button. So where that particular shading around it indicates that it is possible to click or touch it. Okay. So the raised button can show text or icon or both text and icon. So as I said, the button can be only a text or both text and icon or only an icon. So to use raised buttons where that conform to material design specification. So whatever the raised button will be using, where that will be using the material design specification. So how we need to use the raised button? We need to follow the steps. Okay, we need to follow the steps. So first step is in our build.gradle. Okay, in our build.gradle file. So add the newest app compact library to the dependencies section. So in the newest, so in the build.gradle file, so that is module colon app, the file will be there. So in that particular file, we need to add the app compact, like newest app compact library. So where we need to add to the dependencies section, we need to add to the dependency section, we need to add this app compact library. So how it will be there, for example, compile within the single quotes com.android.support.app compact v7, that is the library colon x dot x dot x dot x colon will be closed. So what is this x dot x dot x dot? So it is the version number. Okay, so it is the version number. So what is this version number? So if your version number specified is lower than currently available library version, so you can specify the lower, that is currently available library version number. So update the version number to the Android Studio that tells to use. So if you have a higher number of higher versions, then you need to update this particular line in the dependencies section. So second one is make your activity extend android.support.v7.app.appcompact activity. So as we see that every Android project we use. So as we see here, so it will be extending. So in this Android Studio, for example, see here, this particular class will be extending app compact activity. So if you see this, see, it is going to extend Android X dot app compact dot app compact activity. Okay, so that is the thing you need to extend here. That is the second step. So third is use the button element in the layout. Okay, you need to use the button element. So in the layout file. So where you need to have a UI widgets in your Android Studio within the XML layout file. In the layout file, the layout folder, there is an XML file. So there, if you can add a button element. So there is no need to add additional attribute as rise button. So rise button means whatever the default button we will be using in our UI. So all the default button will be of a rise button. So all the default style is of rise button. So how it looks if you add a button. So these two will be in the, this is the example. So rise button show a background shadow when text or pressed or clicked as shown in the below. So it means that whenever you press a rise button, it shows a background shadow. Okay. So when you practically you see on your Android devices, you can experience that. So in this figure, see there is an, it is pressed here, it is clicked here. So it means that it has a three states. So in this figure, we seen three states, that is normal state, disabled state, and pressed state. So what is this normal state? So if normal state means the button will be look like a raised button. So normally what the button will be using, that will be the raised button. So disabled state means, so if you have disabled the button will be looking like. So that is disabled state. So it means when it is in a disabled state, it is grayed out. Okay, it is grayed out, and the particular button is not in an active state. Okay, that particular button is not an active. Okay. So if you want to hide that particular button, so you can inactive that particular button. So where that particular button will be disabled. Whatever actions it is going to perform, that will be disabled. So next is pressed state. Okay, the pressed states where larger background shadow. So if you press on that particular button, there will be a background shadow. So it indicates that if you get that particular background shadow, so then it indicates that the particular button is touched or clicked. Okay. So what happens if you click? So when you attach a callback to that particular button, so it means that, so if you want to perform any action, we will be using an on-click attribute in the XML file for that particular button. So if you use that button, it will call, if it will be going to call callback method. Okay. So when it is pressed, it is going to call a callback method. So that particular callback method is called when button is in the pressed state. Okay. When the on click callback, when the callback method for a particular button is called, it will be called when the button is in a pressed state. The on callback method for that particular method, for particular button is called. Then how to create a raised button with text? How to create a raised button with text? So to create the raised, so some of the buttons are designed as text. See, what we will see, some of the buttons we will see. So where it is normal, that is only text, will not be having any icon. Okay. So which is that button? For example, we can see if you have a save button in any of your app, so that will be only a text. There is no other icon or both text and icon. So because icon itself might not conveying an obvious meaning. So if you use icon, see for that particular user, see for example, if you have developed an application where you will be using any button in your application. So if you put the icon, the user should know that what the button is. Correct. See, if the use an icon, that icon should be an universal, where that icon can be understood by all the users. So if icon cannot be understood by all the users, then we need to put the text so that text can be easily understood by the user. For example, if you put a save button, so we will type the text as save. Is it? So it understood that if you click that button, whatever the actions you have been performed, that will be saved. Okay. To create a raised button with text, use button class. So we need to use a button class where this button class is extends the text view class. So button class will be extended the text view class. Okay. To create a raised button with just text, use the button class in your XML layout as like this. Okay. So we need to use the raised button. The next is creating a raised button with an icon and text. So we will learn how to create a button with both text and icon. Okay, with both text and icon. So while a button usually displays a text that tells the user what button is for. So as I said, so if you have used the button as a save, so it tells that to save that particular actions what it has to be performed. So it means that the particular that what the button is for. It means what that button is used for. Okay. So raised buttons can also display icons along with the text. See, in this raised button also we can use both text as well as icons. So how to use that? So let's see with an in the Android Studio how we need to create. So these are all the steps. So I will tell the steps first, and we will see how to use that. The first step is to we need to expand the app folder. In that there will be a resource folder in the project view. Then you should be right click on the drawable folder. So then you will get a dialog box. That is this is a dialog box you will be getting. That is new image asset will be there. So then in the third step, use the action bar and team items, and you click the clip art. Then fifth step, we need to make the following adjustment, that is Olo doc and all. I will be telling in the practical sessions. So click next and finish. Then will be icon will be pathway. So let's see all these steps in practical. See, for example, I have this. So I have this. Okay. So what I will do, I will use a button. Okay. I will drag and drop a button. I will make relative to the layouts. So this is a by default. This button is raised button. Okay. So this by default is the raised button. What I will do? So I will give the text as submit. Okay. Submit. This is a raised button with only a text. So now we see how to add text with image icon. Okay. So first step you need to. So you will be having a view like this, right? So wait, the Android Studio will take time in my laptop. So this is how in the app. So you need to expand the app. There you will be having a RES folder. In there you will be having a drawable folder. You click on the drawable folder, then right click on that. Then you go for a new. There you will be having an image asset. Okay, there you will be having an image asset. So you click on that image asset, you will get a dialog box. Okay, so there in the dialog box, what you need to do, you need to choose in the drop down what icon type you are going to need. So in this particular example, I am going to need action bar and tab icons. So if you want launcher icons, you can select for legacy only. For launcher icons, then you can select, or you want notification icons or TV banners or channel icons like this. There are different types of icon types will be there. So whichever the icon type we need, we can select it. So now I am going to select the action bar and tab icon. So then next field is name. So here defaultly some name will be there. If you want, you can change it or you can leave like that. Okay. So then asset type. So if you have any image, okay, if you have any image by your own, then you click on this image, go for the particular path and insert that particular image. If you have your own image, if you move the cursor, it shows that select an image. For example, that whatever the image of your own, we need to add. So it should be in the PNG format or SVG format or button with a clip art. Okay, then you can select clip art option. Then you will be showing a clip art here. There, you can click over here. So if you click on that particular clip art, you will be getting one more additional dialog box, that is select icon. Okay, so it takes time when it see this is the select icon. So these are all the default will be there. So you will be having so many options. Okay, if you whatever you want, you can select it. Require as per the required by your UI. Okay, so if you want zoom in, zoom out, so many options will be there here. Okay, so for example, I will be selecting zoom in. I will click OK. Okay, so then hollow light. So then you can trim, if you can put trim or you can put no trim like that. So if you see here, see in this preview, it is showing that any DPI, XX, HDPI, 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 MDPI. So all these DPI will be for different devices, different device DPIs. So different devices will be having different DPIs. So if you have a short mobile, small mobile with the inch. So if you have a 4.4-inch mobile or if you have a 6.5-inch mobile, so it will be depending on how much the DPI of your mobile. Okay, then we will be having a padding. You can do padding if you want. Then you will be having an icon, hollow light or custom. So if you want a custom, you can select or whichever the color you can choose. So that particular will be there. Okay, or you can put light or you can put dark. So I will be selecting custom. Okay, so here one warning is showing here. An icon with the same name already exists and will be overwritten. See, if you are using with the same name, that particular clip art will be overwritten. So then you can change here. So order dot zoom. Whatever you want, you can give here. And I will click next. So where it will be stored? So it will be stored in the drawable. Okay, it will be stored in the drawable. This will be the XML. Okay, so I will click finish. Okay, so if I expand this drawable, so there you can see the button. See, this is the button. So how I need to use this? So let's see. So I have added my own button. So I need to use that. So what I will do, I will go to the design part. I will do button. I will click image button. See here, I will go to the palette. In that palette, I will be selecting buttons. In that button, I will be selecting image button. Okay, now as for whichever you want. So I will showing zoom up. So this is how you will be using. So for this particular image button, okay, this is how we will be using an image button. Because we use button. Okay. So this is how about button and icon. So how to add? So next is, as I said, so next is vector images. So this is how you are going to add image asset in the drawable folder. Okay, and we will see how to use it. So before that, we see vector images of a where vector images of a standard icon, where these vector images will be automatically resized for different sizes of device displays. So if you have a different device displays, so if you use vector images, where these vector images icons will be automatically resized in a different shapes for a different device displays. So to choose vector images, we need to use following steps. We need to use following steps. So let's see this. First step is Same expand app resources, new vector asset, then you will be having a material icon, and there you need to choose the button, then click next and finish. So let's see how to use vector images. So same in the app resource folder, in the drawable, right click here, select new. Here you will be having a vector asset. Click on that vector asset. See here also there are two types, clip art and local file. If you have a local file, so if you have your own vector asset, though that will be should be in the format of SVG or PSD. So if you have our own, then upload like this. So then if you want only clip art, then select this. So there will be a name for that. You can change it, whatever the name you want. So here, if you click on the clip art, you can select the different types of icons. Okay, so different types of icons you can select over here. Whatever the thing you want, you can select this. Okay, click OK. So if you want to change, you can select and choose that particular will be changed. So enable auto mirroring. If you want, you can select for RTL layouts. So we need to check if your icon should flip in right to left layout. So if you enable this particular option, so it will be flipping from right to left layout. Okay, and I will click next. So that will be going to add. So I will click finish. So where it will be added, it is going to be added here. So this is the vector asset which I have added. Okay. So this is how we are going to add a button. So next we will see how to add button with the text and icon to the layout. Okay, how to add button with the text and icon to the layout. So first we need to create a button with the text and an icon as shown in the figure below. Then use a button in your XML layout. That's the first step. The second step, for that we need to add drawable left attribute. So if you want to add an icon on that particular button, when we need to use Android left drawable left attribute, where if you use to draw the icon to the left of the button's text that shows as a figure. So let's see how to add this. So let's see how to add this through an example. So I will be taking an example. So I will delete all this. So what I have to do, first step is to create a button with a text and icon as shown in the figure. Use a button. So we need to use button. So I have used the button. Okay, I have made relative to the layout. So I will go for the split part. So I will select this particular button. I will text this arrow. So I need to use arrow. So next step is add Android colon left drawable left. So if you need to add an attribute drawable left. So see here all the names what you have been created in the drawable, it will be listed over here. Okay, that will be listed over here. So I need to add arrow back, baseline arrow back 24. So where it will be in the drawable. So at the rate drawable be arrow back underscore 20. If you want to change background of the particular button, background, I will change it to white. Okay, so in this, as I seen, okay, so here you will be getting button with an icon. So as I say, so text with an icon we will be getting. Like this, we can add our button with an icon and a text. So if you want only an icon, so as I said, you can use image button. Okay, here you can select whichever the thing you want. So I won't be selecting only the zoom in order. So select. So here you will be having, I will be making the relative to the layout. Okay, so if you how much this is only for icon. Okay, so if you see the code here for this particular image button, you can put the background, whatever the background you want, you can put. Okay, this is how it will be. Okay, so this is uh, both icon and text. This is only icon. So if you use normal button, that is rise button, that will be only the text. So we will be going to use the buttons. As we